Hello everyone, welcome to the Redmen TV. It's the Uncensored match build-up ahead of Liverpool versus Nottingham Forest. Kick-off in about an hour and 10 minutes time. I'm Steve Hall, joined by Errol Smith as usual, and over at the board we've got Dan Clubb. Yes, we'll be reacting to the Liverpool team news as and when it comes out. Straight off the bat, it's worth mentioning we're still waiting for clarification if Luis Diaz is going to be involved. Obviously horrendous incidents going on with his family in Colombia. So the latest report on Errol was that his mother and father were kidnapped. Some reliable reports said his mother's been found safe and well, but his dad's still missing. Some reports claim contrary that his dad had been found, but they've kind of been not confirmed yet. So Luis Diaz himself, I think, has been speaking to Colombian police force and stuff. My guess is, I mean, just first of all, best wishes, but it feels like this is one that he's probably not going to be involved in, and rightly so.
Yeah, no, I can't see him taking part in today's game, and I can fully understand why. Klopp's always used it. Football is one of the most important, least important things type of vibe, and I think, yeah, all the thoughts and wishes go into his family, and I hope everybody gets returned safely and there's a speedy resolution to the incident.
It's horrendous incident, absolutely horrendous. Yeah, again, hopefully it's resolved sooner rather than later. Other than that, then of course we'll find out who else is going to be involved very, very shortly. There is a rumoured team going out that I'm pretty sure is going to be right, that we'll talk about in a moment. But before we do, let's get a little bit of team news from Jurgen Klopp, who spoke at his press conference the other day.
Yeah, so far we could do it like that. Like it's the Thursday, Sunday. It's not great, but it's something we know really for long enough, and that's fine. But yes, so there's no real training in between. The boys who didn't play tonight will have a proper session tomorrow, so that's good. So there is then training, but if we would play always the same team, what we did in the past, maybe in Champions League more often or stuff like this, then there's no training at all. It's just recovery and go again. So far we could do it like that, and because we have the opportunity, because we don't have too many injuries, there's always too much, but it's still okay in the moment. Hopefully it stays like that, and that's why we can do it. It means a lot of players who played not tonight will probably start on Sunday, so for them it's fine. They had, if you want, a day off today, just warming up and kicking a few balls, and now tomorrow a proper session, and then we prepare definitely Nottingham. So yes, this rhythm is the rhythm we have this year, and we should get used to it rather sooner than later. So far it was okay.
Welcome back, Dan. Yeah, Jurgen, just talking through the rigmaroles of the Thursday, Sunday cycle at Liverpool are in, and we have the challenges it may or may not present. Just again, a quick update on the Diaz story. Luis Diaz spoke to the police chief. There's a video actually going around. I'm not going to play it now, but it feels like he hasn't got his dad right yet. He says, I feel so upset, I can't sleep and I can't think straight. I want my dad back, I'll do anything. Luis Diaz is not going to be involved there, and rightly so. Again, hopefully that situation can be resolved sooner rather than later. And then going back, like Errol said, the most important, least important thing, or whatever it is, you've got a team who's behind you that we think is going to be the Liverpool 11. We're going to confirm it in 7 minutes. Do you want to whiz us through that, my mate?
Yeah, well, this was sort of the 11 I thought we'd go with. I put this up about an hour or so ago when they arrived, and it looks like that's what it'll be. Obviously, the Diaz news has kind of played into this lineup as well, because there's a good chance he would have started had he been available, but rightly looks like he won't be. So I think, and it looks like it might well be, Alisson in goal. Obviously, Kostas Tsimikas continues to deputise for the injured Andy Robertson. Virgil van Dijk is captain. Konate back in the starting 11 in the Premier League. Trent from right back. A midfield three of McAllister as the deepest, with Szoboszlai and Gravenberch, who was just wonderful the other night. Jota from the left, Nunez up front, and Mohamed Salah from the right wing. That's how I thought we'd go, and it looks like that's what it might be. And that, for me, is probably the strongest 11 we could name in terms of form and fitness right now. So I'm made up.
I suppose, like I say, I'm guessing Luis Diaz would have been involved, because Jota did play the whole game on Thursday night. My guess is it was Diaz's place, and Diogo was gonna be on the bench. Obviously, for obvious reasons, Luis Diaz is unlikely to be involved, at least in the start. I doubt he's in the squad. We'll find out in a few minutes' time. With that being said, it is another chance for Jota and Nunez up front, who have both been in good goal-scoring form. Both of them, when they started games, have been impressive. Even in the derby, neither of them got on the score sheet, but Jota impressed, and then Nunez did well, obviously off the bench as well. So Liverpool have got a front three that, in theory, is in pretty good nick, with Cody Gakpo back on the bench and available off the bench as well. It does feel like the firepower's there to beat Nottingham Forest, who, credit to them, don't let many goals in. They're quite a tough cookie. Yeah. You know, they don't score too many, but they don't let too many in. But Liverpool do have a front three that's in relatively good nick.
Absolutely, and I think, you know, we've probably seen the best couple of performances from Diogo Jota in terms of actual all-round performances in the last week, I'd say. I thought his movement the other day, again, was exceptional. The goal midweek or Thursday night, was unbelievable. He spins on pretty much near the halfway line, drives, so direct, heads straight to goal. Nice little touch out of his feet, which just takes out half of the Toulouse defence, really. And then obviously the keeper stands absolutely no chance. Again, same with Núñez. I think his movement has improved massively since the start of the season, even pre-season. He looked sharp, he looked up for it. And again, I think it's about the confidence, especially for those two type of players. Jota always seems to be, he can have a bit of a stinker of a game, not really be involved, be on the fringes, look a bit of a frustrated figure, and then all of a sudden the ball just bobbles at his feet in the box, and well, you know how the storyline goes from there. He is the slaughter for a reason. So absolutely, and Salah just speaks for himself. Another record again in midweek. So I definitely think we've got the firepower, but I think it will be interesting to see the midfield that Klopp goes with today, because obviously options coming back. As you said, Gakpo's now available to be off from the bench. It does look good again for Liverpool.
Absolutely, and Danny, go to the back to the midfield three. There was some talk, maybe Endo. Does Jürgen actually want to go back to having a number 6, a real number 6? Looks like he's not going to. He's going to stick with Alex in there. How are you feeling about that one?
I get the Endo conversation, of course, and I thought it was his best performance the other night against Toulouse since he joined the club, to be honest. But it's not a great surprise to me that we go back to the McAllister, Szoboszlai, Gravenberch trio, because I think that midfield offers us the most technical ability and it allows us to dominate proceedings. It's going to be a bit of a physical battle in there, but Forest will try and make it so anyway. But in terms of getting the ball down and playing, I think that midfield can really control this game. And at home against the team, we should be sort of dominating. We should be having the lion's share possession, and we should really be taking the game to them. I really like that midfield. If you're going to go with an Endo, that suggests you're worried about what the opponent's going to do to you. And I'm not saying Liverpool shouldn't be, because we definitely should. But what they offer is that physical threat. But if we can just keep the ball away from them and really sort of dictate terms, that midfield is the perfect one to do it for me. So whilst I get the Endo stuff, and you might want that add a bit of physicality in some games, I don't actually think this is the game for it. I think this is a game where Liverpool should go in, keep the ball away from the opponent, and just completely dominate.
Absolutely. It looks also, Errol, and we kind of learned this on Thursday at the team news, it looks like Ibu's back to being the first choice for Virgil, because it wasn't always the case. Even when they both fit, Jürgen Klopp had a little dig at Didier Deschamps about not resting Ibu. He said, we asked him to give him a bit of a rest, and he took him off after 87 minutes to give him a 3. Jürgen wasn't best too pleased, which is why they give him Thursday off. But it wasn't that long ago that Matip was starting Premier League games. It looks like the gaffer's now reverted back to what we all presume would be his first choice, back to, centre-back pairing.
I'm fine with that. I know we've had a couple of conversations about Matip and Konate, and I think the general consensus is Konate should be, he probably offers everything we need next to Virgil right now, in terms of he is the one that's a little bit more physical. He's still got that recovery pace, he has got that athleticism, and he definitely, I still think he's got a few lapses in his game, but obviously you only kind of iron them out with experience, getting more minutes on the pitch, being kind of not necessarily thrown into everything, but being assimilated with that back line. You becoming the regular will help you in your performance as they go on. He is the firefighter. Verge is the one who reads everything and screens everything, kind of gives the instructions, and we know Konate is quite happy to do the firefighting in that defensive line, so quite happy for him to slot straight back in, and hopefully today is another opportunity for these lads to get a clean sheet together. Okay. We haven't had many of them so far this season with Verge in the team, and I think that's for me now where the improvements are going to need to start happening.
Absolutely, we'll see how it all pans out later. And Costas is going to be back in at left back, of course, in the absence of Andy Robertson, so we'll see how it goes. We'll see how Forest set up as well. They've changed their formation a bit last season. They caused Liverpool problems in both games, actually. They were very, very good. Got beat at their place, obviously it was a narrow 3-2 in the end at our place, where they pegged us back a couple of times. They have changed since then. They've gone to more of a 4-3-3. It'll be interesting to see how Steve Cooper lines his team up. We're going to get confirmation of that and our team very, very, very shortly, I suppose, as well. We'll see how we'll see how the bench is looking. Obviously, there's a couple of notable absentees, but I think in the last Premier League game, obviously we didn't really need it in the end, because in the derby, but it was a very young Liverpool bench. Obviously, it feels like that could be the same case again. There's Curtis is serving the last of his ban. You got looks like Diaz is going to be out. Thiago's still out. So we'll find out how the bench is looking, because we needed the bench. They were 2 tight games against Forest last season. We'll see how it's looking today. Let me have a little look at the Liverpool team. Them as Dan. In fact, Dan, I'll fire straight over to you. I'll read it out while you get yourself ready. It is the 11 that we presumed it was going to be. TV. So you've got Alisson in goal. In fact, Dan, you talk me through it.
Yeah, just check the bench for me while I'm talking, but I don't know that will go. So Alisson in goal, Kostas Tsimikas continues at left back, Virgil van Dijk, Ibu Konate in alongside him. I like that centre-back partnership today. I think the Forest will cause us problems sort of aerially, and I think they're the best two to cope with it. Chris Wood, Sangare, Mangala, those types, and backing those two to deal with that well. Trent Alexander-Arnold right back nominally will be doing a lot of that, of course, as he always does. McAllister deepest, Gravenberch, I think he's the cover boy of the graphic as well after his performance the other night. That's always good to see. Szoboszlai in there, Mohamed Salah, of course, Darwin Núñez, and Diogo Jota gets another start in the absence, of course, of Luis Diaz, who isn't in the squad, I think I'm right in saying. As expected, no Diaz.
No, absolutely
the
not.
Bench.
Go on, I'll go through it. I'll read it off for you, mate. So make sure you're ready. So have you got Adrian in goal?
I do not have
I've got no idea why Keith Keller is not. He is on the bench. Got 2 goalies on the bench.
Okay, so no Chambers, is that?
Well, I think what's happened, mate, I think basically Diaz is a late withdrawal, so they've just shoved the extra goalie on. So Adrian and Kelleher.
Yeah.
Gomez.
Yeah.
Endo.
Yeah.
Gakpo, Elliott, Matip.
Yeah.
Chambers, McConnell.
Chambers.
So no. I can't see who's over on your.
Quansah.
No.
No Quansah, that's the difference. Quansah. Okay, there we go.
But we'll find out what the reason behind that is later on.
Interesting.
Again, it might just be, mate, that it was going to be Jota or Diaz, and they've had very late changes to bring.
The Quansah one's interesting as well. So obviously we've got Matip and Gomez, 2 centre halves. Gomez can obviously play right back, but do you need the third one? Potentially not. They've gone with McConnell. I mean, you could argue you need 2 DMs on there as well, but I don't know. I think at this point you're right with the Diaz stuff. It's kind of throwing a bit of a curveball, so not a huge concern.
And so again, Errol, the team that we thought it was going to be is the team that it is. What are your thoughts on it? Are you happy with it?
I'm happy with starting 11. Obviously, I think we're in that kind of point at the minute with the bench where it can be a little bit hit and miss. There are going to be games like the Thursday night game, the bench was stacked. The team still looked strong, but the bench was stacked, whereas today we've obviously gone for arguably our strongest 11 maybe on form at the moment. However, we haven't really got the options off the bench. Obviously, we understand why Diaz isn't there, but Gakpo's still coming back into things, maybe not ready to start a game, so maybe he's only fit to really be on the bench at the moment for us. There's not a great deal of firepower. That doesn't necessarily worry me as long as the front line all kind of hit the ground running. But as you say, it's going to be a tough test. This team gave us problems last season on both occasions, so this Liverpool side have really got to be up for it. It's another weird one. 2 p.m. kickoff on a Sunday. I think am I right in saying this is this season's thing? There wasn't like 2 p.m.
It's the Europa League, isn't it?
Often they try because they don't want it to clash with the game that's on Sky at 4:30, whatever. Although today the Sky games are 3:30 because of our clocks have gone back and they've decided to keep it for other audiences. I'm going to bring you the Nottingham Forest team, by the way, and they have made a change. And by the way, we are expecting a big blue bus to park in front of the goal, given that the Forest team that they've just picked out into it. They've got Taylor in goal. It's definitely a back 5. It's Mangala, Sonagre, Gibbs, White, Dominguez, Niakate, Elanga, Oria as captain, Bowley, Murillo and Enya. So if I bring that up in this view here, basically what their formation's going to be, they are very much looking like they've come and done a 5-4-1 almost. It looks like Anthony Elanga might be up front on his own. We'll confirm that obviously when the game starts. But I mean, they haven't even really got a nominated striker. Was he near winger?
He's a winger.
And so is Gibbs White. Again, that is just a guess. But looking at their team, they didn't pick Chris Wood. Obviously, Taiwo's been injured, hasn't he? I'll go back and just confirm the Forest bench. Chris Wood isn't even on the bench. Either's Taiwo.
He's on the bench. Yeah? No, he's absent.
No, he's not.
No, he is. He's on the bench. Yeah.
No, I don't think so. This says Odysseus, Nuno, Worrell, Williams, Kouyaté. Taiwo is on the bench, apologies. Santos, Toffolo and Yates. Chris Wood isn't on the bench. Taiwo only makes it onto the bench at Bonyi, so he's obviously not fit enough to start. But yeah, if it's a park the bus team, we've picked the right team. Because we've got all of our ball players on the pitch right now. You don't need Endo.
You're not
if they're coming to play what it looks like they're coming to play, then Liverpool have got the right team on.
Yeah, absolutely. And my thing the other day when we watched on Thursday, Gravenberch was exceptional. I think he had his best game in a Liverpool shirt so far. Again, we understand it's a small sample size, but he looked really good and he's starting to find his confidence again because we know we had such a bit of a disjointed stint at Bayern, I think it's fair to say. My thing is, who now kind of assumes that responsibility is someone that ticks everything over. We know McAllister's probably going to be the screen and he's going to be obviously that last line of defence before the defence, but on Thursday, it was very evident that it was Gravenberch driving us forward. Everything was running through him. We've become quite accustomed to Szoboszlai being the heartbeat so far for us this season, and I don't necessarily think that automatically changes, but with Gravenberch now kind of finding his feet, a little bit of form, do they both share that responsibility? Did he take turns? It'll be really interesting to see how they kind of manage that mantle of, right, I'm going to be the catalyst from the midfield's perspective. Could they both do it? I don't know. It'd be great if they both just balled out for 90 minutes. I'd love it. But I almost think it's afforded to one player, and then the other player in that eight's got to be a little bit more disciplined.
It's going to be so congested in the middle. That's my only thing. I wonder if we see more Dan of Trent staying more as a right back. What I wouldn't want, and I think Liverpool fell into the trap a little bit against Everton, was just spamming crosses into the box against Groch defenders. Like, if Nottingham Forest, they've got some big lads back there. Willie Bowley being the obvious one. He's absolutely massive. I do wonder what Trent's role is going to be, because if they are packing if it is 5-4-1, that midfield could be very, very congested. I wonder if we might see Trent more as a right back here, and maybe ask Costas to be the one who again, up and down, play more like a natural full-backs would, because it's going to be hard to find space in that middle of the pitch with so many men.
Did you say as well that they had been like more 4-4-3?
That's all they've done. Yeah.
So that's massive respect to. He's showing us massive respect in the fact of saying he doesn't think we've lost a midfield.
They've had a few injuries as well, to be fair. Like, they haven't got a striker fit, which doesn't help.
Which is fine. Obviously, you said they're not scoring bags of goals themselves at the minute, but he's probably looking at it and thinking, when they've had 11 men on the pitch, they've not really lost a midfield battle. How do we really stay as close to them as possible? How do we stop them from getting the space down the middle? And maybe with the absence of Andy Robertson, he probably thinks they've only really got one outlet on the right-hand side, which we know, because obviously we've seen him, because we know he's still an outlet. We know dead ball situations, we know corners, crosses from that left-hand side. He is very good with his deliveries, but are they hedging the bets to basically say the threat's going to come from Trent, and as long as we can make sure that they are only limited to getting the ball out wide, we should be okay through the middle? And I think that's going to be the biggest challenge for us today. And
that's the question, is then, like, the space is going to be out wide, but what can Trent do from out there other than cross? You know what I mean? Like, it's going to be interesting. He's like a key player now.
Yeah.
Does he go and try and get in the middle and just get involved and be good enough? Because it's going to be quite congested, like I said.
Yeah, I think we'll see more of Trent operating as the right back that he used to be, and he will look to sort of stay and sort of occupy this sort of territory more than the central stuff, because as you make the point there, that midfield, it's like land of the giants in there first and foremost from a Nottingham Forest perspective. They are massive, absolutely massive. But it's a difficult one, because if you do get Trent down this side, and even Tsimikas on the opposing side as well, Nunes is a big lad, of course he is. Jota is exceptional in the air as well, but it comes to something when you're putting crosses in, because they'll be lapping that up all day. Steve Cooper will want us to be hitting crosses into their penalty area. That means they're winning. They're winning their tactical battle. Now, we've just spoke about what Forest could have done. I think Forest could have persisted with their 4-3-3 today. We look at Gibbs, White and Elanga in particular. They could have done something to do that, but they're coming to Anfield, and they're coming to Anfield with a game plan, and that will be to go 5-4-1, make life difficult, that low block, try and frustrate the life out of us, and then maybe nick something on the counter, possibly from a set piece. The pace of Elanga, it's interesting how Elanga has kind of been pinpointed as the most advanced. He's probably their quickest player, I would say. So that suggests to me they are going to try and hit us on the counter. But we just need to be smart. I think we will see a bit of Trent going in there and trying to make things happen. But we need to just operate our own way, get the ball into these two as much as possible. On your point a minute ago, Errol, about those two and sort of sharing responsibility, I think they will do that. I think it'll be quite an even split. We've seen in the second half against Brighton, both of them want to get on the ball all the time. They're both really smart. I don't think it'll be a case of, right, your turn to like your turn, Gravenberch. I think they'll both try and make things happen throughout, and I'm backing those two to have a really, really important game today. That kind of goes without saying, of course, as they're both brilliant footballers. But when you look at sort of your match winners, I think we win the game in these two today. I just don't know whether they're going to be able to handle their quality, and that's where I think we'll get the better of them.
Yeah, Steve Ryder in the YouTube says, quick passes is what Liverpool are going to need today. Yeah, lots to say. We need to ping it about quickly, says John. But it feels to me, Errol, this could... Listen, if Liverpool score early, it could be like jobs are good, but it does feel like we're all going to have to be very patient. The derby was like a little bit like that, and I know it got a little bit on everyone's nerves, but Liverpool actually kind of got their heads together and did the right thing. They kept just moving the ball, just making them work for it. Because at some point, you hope someone makes a mistake or one of our world-class players. This doesn't look like, again, and I hope I'm wrong and Liverpool beat them 8-0, but it feels like a game where you could easily get frustrated, and you've got to just, cool heads need to prevail here. You don't want like spamming shots all the time and crosses. like these lads need to, like say, keep the cool, keep calm, because eventually someone will make a mistake, someone will do something brilliant, you'll get an handball or whatever, because Forest aren't coming here to come toe to toe with Liverpool.
No, absolutely not. And I think that was one of the more impressive things from the derby, because I think 11 versus 11, it's a completely different derby. I think once it goes down to 10 men, we do tend to struggle to break teams down, just because we know teams don't want to go toe to toe with us anyway. It's about saving face, it's about damage limitation. I also think it was reassuring for us, because different set of circumstances and a test really to see what we're made out of. But it was the fact that in game there was the switch of approach for us, because as you said, we started to spam crosses from that second half before the goal comes. We're starting to spam crosses from Trent's side, and we're not really getting any joy. Everton have got a lot of defenders in there, and on the day, to be fair, they was putting their bodies on the line, and fair play to Derby, you'd expect them to do that, the passion, all the rest of it. But at some point, there was just something within the team where they managed it between themselves. It wasn't necessarily... Could have been an instruction from the bench, but for what we could see, it just looked like they was dealing with it in real time.
The manager took Kostas off as well, and just said, listen, that was the biggest indication, get on the floor.
Literally, get it on the floor. And it was those cutbacks. As soon as we started to do that, we started to create them issues. We started to create them problems. Again, they couldn't live with Diaz, who unfortunately we haven't got today. But again, I can imagine something very similar being the case. And the one thing that I would like to see more of, and I think that was what we spoke about in the instant match on Thursday, and was, Salah just getting the stink of a bad performance off him. He might have scored 2 goals, but he's probably his own worst critic, and he probably knows he probably underperformed a little bit all round. I'd like to see him really up against his opposition man today and give him a torrid time, because I don't think, is it Mikalenko or whatever his name is, I don't think he did too much to really worry him last week in the derby. It was a bit of a quiet performance in terms of Salah's 1v1 numbers.
Absolutely. We've got a super chat in here from Imran. Thanks very much, Imran, with the £10. He says, guys, I saw Gravenberch in the flesh on Thursday. He reminds me of a much better version of Lallana, the way he's in tight spaces and on the half turn. And I completely agree with Imran. That it feels like this could be a big Gravenberch game, Dan. I know we've all been very impressed with him. If Forest are camped out and there is going to be a lot of pressure on the ball or whatever, and picking those spaces, Gravenberch on the edge of the box. We saw him get a shot away in midweek, didn't we, against Toulouse, where he just got out his feet and bang. It does feel like that could be something that Liverpool use, because I agree, it was one of the things Lallana was really good at, just trying to drive through spaces, and Gravenberch is a bit more athletic, so it could be another big game for him. Yeah,
you want your intelligent ball carriers, and the ones who've got that little bit of quality, a little bit of class. They can see a pass, they can see an opportunity, they can see a chance to shoot, whatever it may be, and that's why I think these two are absolutely pivotal. But this lad here in particular, he absolutely stole the show for the first 5-6 weeks of the season, whatever it was. But last 2 or 3 games, this kid has been just going from strength to strength, and I think we're really seeing what made him so special during his Ajax days, and Liverpool have got an absolute bargain bringing him in, and I'm backing him today to sort of be the difference between the two teams. I really am. I just think he's got that little unique quality, and he just wants to take a game by the scruff of the neck. He's not happy just coasting through and sort of having an okay performance. He wants to be that difference maker. And I think the way Forest are going to set up today, men behind the ball, you are going to see some moments whereby you might get a little bit frustrated, but when they are taking long shots on, you just never know what could come from it. Obviously, they've got the quality to absolutely ping one in top corner, of course they have, but also it brings about deflections, it brings about spaces for Salah and spaces for Jota, and Núñez following up as well. So I think those two really hold the key today, more than they have done in recent weeks.
Absolutely right then. All you guys in the chat or in the Discord, let me know your score predictions now. You've seen Liverpool's team, you've seen Nottingham Forest's team as well. I'm going to get Dan and Errol on the spot very, very shortly. So to run through it one more time, Liverpool's team, you've got Alisson in goal, you've got Tsimikas, Van Dijk, Konate, Trent, you've got McAllister, Gravenberch and Szoboszlai, Jota, Núñez and Salah. So score predictions then. Raven's gone for a 5-0, which is wow. I'll take it. Absolutely take it. Abdul's gone for a 3-1. Plu's gone for a 3-0. So is Steve Ryder. So is Betty Boo. Got 4-1 from Paul. Kiva Joseph, 3-0. We've got 4-0s from name. Great name. Absolutely loads coming in there. I'll flash it through on the screen as you guys go through yours. Dan, I'll start with you. What are you thinking, Liverpool Forest?
I need to give a shout out to Sam Haynes, who messaged us this morning asking for a shout out. So hello, mate. Hope you
let's not make that a thing, eh?
It's just a one-off. I know.
I'm nipping this in the bud. You can pay for super chats.
Maybe. 3-0 Liverpool. Dom Szoboszlai to score.
Ooh. I'm I'm going, that midfield is the hungry Dutch steakhouse. It really is. It's got to get us off the score sheet today. I'm going to go for a tight 3-1.
A tight 3-1?
Yeah,
okay.
I reckon it's going to be 2-1 for a while, and then we just put it to bed late on with a bit of a counter.
I said 2-0. And I'm happy with that one. We've got a few different scores that have been flashing up on the screen. But there you go. Then that's our predictions. That's all your predictions as well. Come back and join us in about 30 minutes time for the watch along. Yes, obviously because the game isn't allowed to be broadcast over in the UK, we've had to fly out. Where are we?
We are in Montpellier.
There we go. We're in Montpellier. Okay, sound. So yeah, come and join us from the heart of France in 30 minutes time on YouTube. See you in a sec.
Hey, thank you so much for checking out the content today. If you want to get your name in and amongst these wonderful people, then head to redmenplus.com. Join as a legend tier subscriber. You're going to get free merchandise codes. You're going to get in our Discord, and you're going to get your name at the end of YouTube videos. Yes, redmenplus.com, legend tier status.